You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Chief Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Love in the City After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Love in the City After Show.
Ooh.
Okay, this is your jam.
Yes. Good job, girl. She always picks like the jam.
She does.
Good stuff.
Thank Carissa.
Hey everyone, we're here at the AfterBuzz show for Love in the City, the new series. We're on episode 2, Secrets Revealed. I'm your host, Stacy Ike, and I'm here with my lovely co-host. We're missing Sterling today, but I have my lovely co-host here with me. Introduce yourself, girly.
And I'm Courtney Tezeno. We have a great show again for you guys. Episode 2 is a lot of secrets, as we said.
Yeah, I think that this episode was interesting because I was expecting a lot. I mean, the title you want more secrets than that. Mm-hmm. But what we did get was, you know, it took a toll on us. So we're excited to share with you guys what we think. This episode, we got to see each woman in their element, I would say.
Oh, definitely.
You know? And that was a really cool way to kind of see who's who and who does what. And so after that, I feel like we can easily break it down, kind of what they experienced this episode, their relationships with each other. Because our first episode, it introduced us to everyone, but there was so much more drama. This was very specific to each woman. And so I think that was really interesting. So we're going to dive right into it and go ahead and tell you guys, you know, what we thought, our afterthoughts about today's episode.
Yep. So let's start with Kiyah. So we loved Kiyah last week. We still love her. She made the big move to New York with the rest of her sisters, best friends, whatever you want to call it. She made the big move, and we kind of dive in head on with her relationship with her boyfriend Razi. He's Armenian, Armenian, 27-year-old. So we didn't get to see too much of him, but what did you think
enough
about
to know that he would buy her Chanel bag?
Yes.
That's what I saw. He buys her Chanel. And she didn't even open the other Chanel box. I was like, I want to see what's inside.
Everything.
Yeah. So she didn't give me the full scoop. But from what we know,
from the chemistry that we saw, I think we see that he is, as she said, supportive.
Right.
She said wealthy.
Right.
Clearly Chanel.
Right.
But I don't know how I don't know how I feel about their actual chemistry between each other. Like, what do you think? What did you see? Did you see anything different?
I think it was interesting because, I mean, like you said, last episode we didn't really get to meet him. So we have all these high hopes. She talked about him really beautifully, and she said he was like this great boyfriend, which I believe that he is.
Oh yeah.
But just to meet him this time and her talk about, you know, when they talked about the baby situation, Kiyah basically brought up to him like, hey, I'm kind of ready to be a mother. What do you think? She did it so swiftly that I wasn't sure if they had talked about it before or not, but
I don't think they talked about it before. And that's the thing that threw me off. His response was like too calm.
Yeah. Like, she was like, be my baby daddy. And he was like, yep. And I was like,
I'm like,
no,
this can't be real life because
there needs to be
like more of a conversation.
I was kind of confused. I mean, if he's that supportive, cool, but it just seemed like a guy that I'd be dating, I'd want him to question a little bit. Like, okay, so if you want me to be your baby's father, why are you moving to New York? Why are we separating? Why aren't we?
And that's another thing she said. She's like, oh, I think he's so ready to be a baby daddy, but I don't think he's ready to be a husband because he's young.
I thought the first... But what?
Exactly. But they did say it non-traditional. So I guess we got to get used to this whole non-traditional thing. But it just threw me off a little bit. Like, your relationship is going to become long distance. Now you're okay with becoming a baby daddy. It really feels like she's such an independent woman. And that's even in her relationship. Yeah. Like, he's supporting you, mentally, financially. But, like, what else is
he's not supporting her financially. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, taking care of her with gifts and things like that. Showering her with love as a boyfriend would do. But other than that, I'm like, where's the relationship building? Like, where?
Well, that's the thing. We haven't gotten to see much of him yet. So I would say that, like, we don't know everything yet. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I just think it's weird that you think like he's ready to be a father, yet he's not ready to be a husband. Because I'm not a wife or a mom, but I'm thinking that being a father is a little bit harder, because if my father wasn't the way I was, like, how could he, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand how that
you're
could go.
You're going to need a father figure. You need two people on the same page to raise your child.
Which means that he needs to practice, like, some kind of, like, love for other than himself by being your husband.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of my perspective on it. Like you said, they are a non-traditional couple, so we have to give them certain benefits, but we still have to analyze it from, like just how it sounds. You know what I mean? Like, it just sounds
it's
weird.
Really off to me. I mean, I'm used to two parents. They take care of me. They're great. They work together, husband and wife. That's, that's what I'm used to. So I can only, share
Speak from that. Exactly. Yeah.
So that was interesting. I hope we get to see some more of Rozzy. Get to see his personality.
Right. He was a cool cat. Cool cat.
Real chill.
I'm cool with that. Whatever. So I think if we go from there, you know what? This actually transitions well into Kiyah's emotional stability, because we see in her relationship with him, she's very lax. Like, she's nothing really stressed her out. Like, she really can't handle stress. She's like, hey, like, you're gonna be the baby daddy, cool, and like, he's cool, and they move on. Go with the flow. Like, they seem to both have that kind of nature. So when we see her go to New York, we see how her emotions kind of rise up and down when she's dealing with her friends. So I
think it's funny when people say, because I'm one of these people, when they say like, oh, I'm not a crier.
Yeah,
and
you so are. Yeah,
and I'm not a crier, and like, I'm so detached from my emotions. But then, like, the second something big happens, you're like the craziest cry, like, you're the most emotional. So I think that she's built up, I think she said before, like, she kind of had to build up that tough wall because she lost so many family members. So she has that tough skin, but like, she's still vulnerable. You are still a woman that's emotional. Let's not act like that's not the case.
And that's the thing. I respected it because she said, like, hey, I'm not really emotional, and she explained why, so I believed it more. Because at first she was like, I'm not emotional. I was like, what? Why not? Like, your friends are going through stuff. Be emotional. But I mean, you're right. Every woman is different. Like, she's allowed to have her thoughts, her feelings, and she has personal experience that tells me, like, okay, this is why she has that wall.
Exactly.
So,
and honestly, I like that she gives that balance to the friendship, because if everyone was crying, that would just be like, I can't watch this. This is like too much at once, like a roller coaster of emotions. Like, women are already emotional. I think we need that balance from her. That's a little tough, but in some instances, like we saw with Bershawn, it just wasn't appropriate to me.
Yes.
So in this episode, Bershawn ends up telling, we'll talk about her secret, but she ends up telling her secret, and I wasn't really happy with the response that
her friends gave her.
That she gave her. Like, she just, that was a moment to let that vulnerability and like being there for your friend, crying with your friend in this situation was a little bit it was awkward to me. But.
Well, there was a secret later that she did get a little bit more emotional, when it had to do with Tiffany. So I think that, like we said, like, sometimes you're the most tough person and you really can't handle, putting down your wall, and then other times you're the biggest crier ever. So it really, I don't think it depends on the person, it depends on the situation, because I'm sure she loves Tiffany and Bershawn just as much, same amount. So I think it was just the situation, maybe how it happened, where it happened. We basically might as well jump into Bershawn's first situation. She definitely sat down with Kiyah. Kiyah flew into New York, and the first person she went to go see was Bershawn. So she went there, and she said, hey, like, I have something to tell you. And Bershawn sat her down, and I'm not sure, I wonder what Bershawn was expecting from her, because she knows Kiyah very well.
Let's talk about that. Like, what would you have expected? Yeah. Well, let's say what the secret was. But
basically, Bershawn told Kiyah that her surrogate had a miscarriage. So her surrogate was pregnant. This could have been a really happy moment, and the surrogate did have a miscarriage, which is an extremely unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
And Kiyah's response, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just a lot for her to even come out about and have a straight poker face, which I applauded Bershawn for doing. But, like, if she has this poker face, I would have wanted my friend to kind of be a little bit more comforting, because I'm holding it together. Like, I just told you that my surrogate can't have
beautiful
my child.
Chant,
and you're like, oh, girl, like, this is not a time to joke.
But you know what? Before she did tell her the secret, she did say, Bershawn said, like, no, leave it up to Kiyah to make light of a situation. And so I guess we can say that Bershawn did expect what she got, but I guess for us watching it, we're like, hey, like, you should react. Basically, her reaction was, oh my gosh, what? Like, she had a miscarriage, super sad. Do you think she's doing it for the money? And I was like,
oh, that actually...
I was so confused. Now, I feel like, tweet me, tell us what you think, that, if you interpreted it differently. But what we saw
that it was very much she shifted her emotions, because I think Kiyah didn't want to get too deep into it and make her feel bad about the situation. But to switch it to like, oh, girls, you think that surrogate is doing it for money. You think she did it on purpose and she needs some more money.
I was like, that's speechless. Speechless. I really had no words. I was like, wait, we cannot take this super delicate situation and turn it about money. Now, I also thought, devil's advocate part, that was a pretty valid point.
That was an interesting point.
People are crazy like that. And I'm sure it's not the first woman that's been like, hey, I'm going to be a surrogate, but really I'm just going to, do some dirty and get your money. So I'm not saying it's a crazy situation.
Yeah. But we don't want to think of it
But you don't want to think about it like that.
I instantly thought of the surrogate. I know she's doing, this is her job or, her side hustle, whatever the case is.
It's her body.
But it's her body. And who wants to have a miscarriage? Like, that's hard on her. So I thought that was a little insensitive to say, like, oh, do you think she did it on purpose? Like, I don't know if I just want to make myself have a miscarriage. Like, that's crazy.
It seemed a little far-fetched, but I would say, like, as a friend, like, thanks for bringing that up. Can we move on, please? Like, can we be sad about this? Not that she needed to be sad for her, but like comforting.
But let's go back to the fact that, like, I still can't have a child instead of like, okay, girl, how long can I stay with you? Like,
That transitioned into Brashawn talking about Kiyah as a person in terms of her being a little bit entitled. Now, I didn't really see that episode 1. Like, I knew she was the leader, but I didn't feel like she was entitled. I feel like she was very, like, to herself. She had her own thing. So she didn't need to be,
I didn't see the entitlement until this episode.
Yeah.
And I think a devil's advocate for this, I think she has that mentality of being more entitled because of her career. And she said in this business, you have to be the type of person that, just gets it done. And like that, I think that's where her personality of entitlement.
But you know what? Like, it depends on your friendship, because you have the friend that you're like, hey girl, can I stay with you for 3-4 weeks? You mind? Like, you know what I mean?
But Brashawn was that friend.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like Kiyah shouldn't expect, if Brashawn's always said yes, like, why wouldn't you ask again? You know what I mean? Like, not that I don't feel like she was taking advantage of her necessarily. I feel like she was just like, hey girl, like, your husband's out of town, cool, like, this will be no big deal. Because she was like, it's about to be a party, and I'm like, no.
But that goes back to Brashawn and that passive aggressiveness. She gotta work on that, because if you never say it, then of course your friend's like, oh, that's my go-to.
Right.
So I mean, it's on both of them. Like,
I want to say Brashawn, like, was better this episode, because we talked about that while we were screening. Like, her passive aggressiveness changed a lot. Like, she's being a little bit more open, because the truth is she responded to Kiyah like, look, I'm married. No,
you gotta go, girl. 3 days.
Yeah, she said 3 days flat out. So I think that was definitely like, hey, like, let me be honest about my feelings, because I do not want this to come back and mess up our friendship. So she was pretty honest about that. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you have to be honest and just whatever. There's so many lessons to be learned in friendships. Like, it never gets old. These women have gone through so much together, yet they're still teaching each other lessons about each other, learning about each other. I think that's what's really cool about it and genuine, because it's like, wow, after this much time, like, you don't know everything about somebody. You got to keep learning about them and keep investing, keep caring.
Friendship is like a relationship, a long relationship.
And it's honestly till death do us part. So
exactly.
It's the same thing.
Or we cut it off.
Or we decide to cut it off through the scissors. Whatever, same thing. No, they're not the same thing. Let's move on.
They're not. Okay.
So I mean, now that we're talking about Brashawn, we can go into Brashawn's, how she handled her situation, her secret this episode, which, like we said, we applaud you. You're fabulous.
Absolutely, you're fabulous. Yeah, I love your poker face. I love your strength. Awesome. Okay,
yeah, you did great. So if we talk about how she talked to Kiyah about it, we kind of got that reaction already. Poker face, she handled it well. We can kind of move into how she told Chenoa, which that was tough. Yeah. So they have very similar relationships and very similar experiences. So I think that was extremely hard for her to deal with. So, I mean, what did you think about
when they sat down? At
Chenoa's house.
So I think that for me was, I mean, I know they say it's like a non-traditional friendship, but that reminded me more of a traditional friendship. You come, like, let's just chit chat about our lives, like, let's get some wine and like let's cry it out. So I liked that part of it when they got the chance to just sit down and talk. But I think that the focus kind of shifted to Chenoa, and I felt so bad for her this episode because she's going through so much, but. I don't know. What did you think about how the conversation went? Like, it just was really.
Look, I feel I'm not mad at the conversation, because there's very many times, and I can be this friend too, where somebody's like telling you a sad story and you relate so much that somehow the story becomes about you. Like, it's not supposed to be like that. It's not on purpose. Yeah, it's not on purpose. Like, I feel like Chenoa was like, oh my gosh, someone I can relate to. Like, she probably hasn't really, because I'm sure if she was like even we see the way she told Kiyah didn't react the same, you know? So the way Bershawn's going to act is going to be like complete sympathy, complete empathy. Like she understands her from top to bottom because she's going through the exact same thing. So I didn't have a problem with the way Chenoa was like, oh my gosh, me too. Like, let's talk about me now. Because I don't think it was a bad thing.
No, I don't think it was a bad thing. That's why I said this is the one time when I thought it was more traditional right. and which I could appreciate. Yeah. But, I don't know. Like, I think the conversation went okay, but again, we really didn't get too deep into Bershawn's.
We didn't. We never do.
Situation because she's really a comforter, and I'm starting to see that she's not really. I mean, she's more of the glue to the group. Maybe we'll see next week somebody else the glue.
Because everyone. Last week Kiyah was gluing it, and this year, this week Bershawn's gluing it. So I mean, but it's different because there was a conversation with Bershawn all through this episode because Tiffany had a situation, but it wasn't necessarily a glue situation. It was kind of like a confrontation thing. So I think that's a different situation, but overall, Bershawn was just comforting overall. Like she was very, like people could go to her. Everyone went to her this episode in a sense. So I appreciated that.
But that's why I really want Bershawn to have someone to comfort her. She's going through a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see like who's going to step up and do that for her. And I think in my prediction now is it going to be Chenoa when she like goes through whatever she's going through. I think she's more of the emotional one. So I could see her being the one that could be the comforter for Bershawn while she's going through the surrogacy.
Yeah. Things. I mean that would be helpful because like I said, they've gone through so many similar experiences. Why not? So if we continue to talk about Bershawn and like everything she went through this episode, we can go ahead and transfer quickly into Tiffany.
Yeah, another confrontation.
Yes, I would say, Bershawn's confrontation with her. Now, this was interesting because I did agree. Well, hold on. So I like feel bad because I don't know who I agree with just yet. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm like, now that I think about it, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. But if you guys saw in this episode, Tiffany had an event actually that was to raise money for Ghana, women in Ghana who have breast cancer, and
for Pink Chose Me,
her organization. And she invited her girls to support and that kind of thing. And Bershawn had a little bit of a problem with it because she was not included, which there was half and half of me that agreed and half didn't. So I would love to know what you think and you guys. But there was just a really interesting part of me that was like, this is like, wow, like it's like they can neither of them can win.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that's the thing I was saying in last episode is that you just have to find that fine line for career and friendship. And I don't think they found that yet. Yeah. Now, I do retract my statement of saying, oh, their friendship may not last, because I'm starting to see, okay, like that's the issue that they're having is they can't separate the friendship and the career. More of that. But I think I'm trying to see whose side I was on. I think I was more so on Tiffany's side on the fact that, like, you could have at least told me. You could have at least told me you were having the event because And it's not even like, oh, I did this for you in Ghana, that means you owe me. But it's more like, I'm your friend. Like, I should be involved in this as your friend, not as like, oh, we do the same thing. I think out of consideration for her friend, she should have known that she was doing that. Now, to say that, oh, we need to do the thing together, the event together, I don't think I agree with that, because it should be separate. Now, I don't like how Tiffany tried to take over Bershawn's event when she was in Ghana. That was, we all said that was completely wrong. Yeah. But in this instance, when it is her event, I completely understand when it's like, this is my event, and I'm gonna make it work. Bershawn could have did what Tiffany did. She could, but that's the thing. Like, I don't necessarily think Tiffany's like a bad friend in any means, but she just takes things on a little bit differently. Like, she definitely got those contacts from Bershawn. Yeah. She should have respected the fact. She should have totally asked her, like, look, I'm about to do this. What do you think? Like, me. You know, it's not even about like you said, it's not about us working together necessarily. It's just a common courtesy. And it's the thing, like, friendships are tough because some friends don't see it like you need to include me at all. Like, we have separate lives, we're doing separate things. Like, why do I have to tell you about everything I'm doing? And I don't necessarily think it's that, but because like I get to this party and I know all these people or then whatever. Why was I the only one that wasn't informed? That's crazy. Like, you should have been like, hey girl, like, I'm doing this. What do you think? Like, anything, just anything to like, to lessen the fact that like this is a competition in a sense. Yeah, and to make it less awkward. Yeah. Like, if Bershawn would have known ahead of time, like, oh, all my contacts are going to be there, she's having this event, she could have put her poker face on and supported her friend. But she kind of came into the situation very shocked. Like, did you really I definitely invited that person. You know, it's like, yeah, like, this doesn't sit well with me. And that's when it becomes like I don't even want to say like the backstabbing thing, but like it's just not courteous. I just don't think that even in business and in friendship, I don't think that worked. Yeah. So I don't know how Tiffany could have done it different. What do you think? I mean, like I said, like, I feel like she could have prepared her a little bit more
when she was starting it, if you're inspired by an event that I did, let me know. Like, tell me that I inspired you, or not that you have to tell me you inspired me, but just like remind me that this was a part. This started out as like, we have a common goal. We're not necessarily business partners. We don't work together, but this is a common goal that we both have. So there's no reason why you can't be like, oh my gosh, like I was so inspired by that, I'm going to do this. She would have been, I feel like she would have totally been on board.
Yes. She would have been supportive, and it wouldn't have made anyone feel awkward or like, oh, we need to talk after, any type of thing like that. But I do think, I think she tried to cover herself a little bit. Tiffany tried when she said, okay, guys, well, this event started because, you know, I want to reveal this to you guys, but a friend took me to Ghana a couple years ago, and she shouted her out. That was cute.
She had to, though. She had to.
Yeah, because if she didn't, then Bershawn, she would have cut her with eyes. Like, she just would have been, their friendship would have been a mess.
Because she definitely was like, you didn't even include me. Like, how am I supposed to feel, basically? And so I think that was cool that she was like, hey, I mean, some people would see it, devil's advocate would see it as like, thanks for the like lame shout out that she gave.
That's how I felt. Yeah,
you know,
and it's the same as Chenoa last week. Everybody is just like, they messed there, girl, that strike. I
don't want to give Tiffany a strike.
No. Tiffany didn't get a strike. I'm just saying in the same instance. It's like, okay,
you forget about the person, and then you're like, hey, I need to make up for it. And it happened that Bershawn talked to her right before she gave her speech, so it's like,
then it didn't feel like it was genuine.
Exactly. That's the only thing. It could have been genuine. She could have definitely been like, maybe she was gonna call her out before. We don't know, but I think just the way it was.
I don't think so.
I think the way it was fun. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. But I mean, I think just the way it went, yeah, we're kind of confused. We would love to know what you guys think. So you got to make sure that you're checking us out on AfterBuzzTV.com. Also go on YouTube, like, subscribe, give us how many stars? 5 stars. Give us 5 stars, and make sure you subscribe and check out everything we're doing. Leave us comments, and make sure you download the app for your Android or your iPhone, because we love to have you connected with us.
And it's convenient.
Exactly. So make sure you just tweet us, give us your comments, and let us know what you think about this and last episode as well.
Yep. Stay in touch with us. So let's go ahead and move on to Tiffany, because we were already talking about her event. So yeah, Tiffany, Tiffany, you were a little extra last week, but I was feeling you this week.
I was feeling you.
You inspired this week, which, like, I think one of her friends said, like, this just showed me a different side of her. She's more, I don't know if she said soft, but she said she said she's like gentle or she basically not as extra. But in this,
Sterling, that was you. That was for you, Sterling.
Yeah. Okay, so on to a more emotional note. Right. At the event, Tiffany ended up talking about, she revealed her secret that not even her friends knew about. And it's the fact that she, at one point she was cancer-free, and then now
for 9 years.
9 years cancer-free, had her organization going, and she was inspiring others. And she kept it to herself that she got cancer and had to get a double mastectomy. And when I say all of our hearts, like, felt for you, Tiffany, like that... I mean, we saw it through her friends, and she was just like, they were all just an emotional wreck. Yeah. But I thought that really showed her true strength, to be able to not say anything to anyone other than her boyfriend, but to not say anything and to go through that, like, that takes a strong person.
It does. And I think, I don't know, like, in some cases, there's two situations. Like, I don't necessarily think she had to go through it alone, but she did have her boyfriend, but her friends seem to be very supportive. Like, I mean, I feel like they got her back, so she could have definitely told them. And I think she has different reasons for keeping it. And what was interesting is that she mentioned that she feels like she's a failure, which made me really sad, because I'm like, you didn't give yourself cancer, honey. We know you're not a failure. Like, and that it related to every situation that every woman has felt where, you know, something happens to her that she doesn't feel like she's 100%. It makes her feel like she, you know, with Chenoa not having her children, or Bershawn not having, you know, her surrogate having a miscarriage. Like, those are situations that women feel like failures, or they feel like because they didn't achieve what they were supposed to as the strong woman that they put on to be, they failed. They didn't do wrong. And that sucks.
You have no control over that. But that really takes an emotional toll on someone's self-esteem. And I mean, I just think Tiffany handled it well. Yeah. But again, she didn't have to deal with it on her own. But I think that after you've gone through it once and your friends have been there, I mean, this was a personal choice of hers to just keep it to herself.
Keep it to herself.
So, I mean, I applaud her for being able to keep that for so long, and then to reveal it at such a big event. Because like she said before, I don't want to have to tell each person the same story over and over again. Why not just tell everyone at the same time?
At the same time. That's very true.
I thought that was smart, and then you don't have to go through the emotional every time, like, I did this. So I thought that was a great move. Not even a move. I thought that just took a lot of strength for her to do. So that was awesome of her. And Well,
What?
No. It's nothing even negative.
I'm like, what? What you thinking?
No, I wanted to know how you're thinking about her getting, now that she's gone through the double mastectomy, she's constantly getting pumped so she can be prepared for implants. Like, how would you even deal with that after going through cancer before and then the second time now you're going through this? Like, how would you deal with something like that?
I think Kiyah's reaction to it was how I would deal with it. You know, breaking down and crying for your friend, because there's a lot that goes into having these surgeries. Like, breast cancer is not a joke. It is like there's so many bodily things that happen. There's so many ifs, ands, or buts, and in some cases it's life or death for sure.
Oh, then the double mastectomy
is
life
or
or death.
And that was my issue. Like, I don't have a problem with anything she did. That is obviously her personal choice and how she again is so strong that she's proven that, like, it doesn't matter that you guys think I'm planning on dying or passing or whatever. Like, I am going to fight this. And that's awesome. Like, she obviously has some kind of faith or something like that. So I just feel like with the next process, that's going to be even more tough, because what if things don't work out the way she expects? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't have personal experience in this area, but it's hard to know that, like, after doing all that, I just think her friends are going to be kind of, because they don't know about what she's doing in terms of pumping and getting ready for that. They don't know yet.
And I don't think that it's anything that she should necessarily share, like, because that just worries your friend and then that stresses you out. So I think the way that she's going about it is good.
Yeah.
Having that one support system, I'm sure maybe she has some family that supports her as well, but telling her friends every little step, I think that would just stress everyone out and have a lot of stress on her. So I think she's going about it well.
Yeah. I wouldn't say she should tell her friends everything, but I'm a consulter. Like, I love to consult my friends about what's going on in my life if I feel like they would be the perfect person to help or whatever the case is. So maybe she doesn't feel like they're ready to handle it, because
I don't think
maybe
so.
they're not. They all have their own personal things, and maybe that is true. Like, stressing them out just stresses you out. So I don't have a problem with the way she's handling it at all. I guess I'm just scared for her. Like, you know, this is surgery we're talking about. It's not a joke.
It's a serious deal.
Yeah.
So in that regard, Tiffany, I don't even know if I could say, like, oh, Tiffany, I love you, but I love your strength. I do.
Yeah, I mean, all of the women, like, they have their separate things that make us admire them, because they're sitting in their separate strengths very well. We have Kiyah as this very, very strong woman. I mean, all of them have their own specific poker face that I appreciate. Like, and we're learning from it, because we know how Kiyah, you know, she could just pick up and move at her age and do her thing and do her business, and, like, you know what I mean? And Chenoa, she got that apartment. We are going to talk about that in a second, but and Brashawn dealing with what she's dealing, especially without her husband being there, which I didn't like. Not that I didn't like that. He's on a business trip.
He a world traveler. How would you even handle your husband traveling that much?
I just think it depends. Like, I know Brashawn can't necessarily take her job everywhere.
Oh no.
But the way that their relationship seems to be, I would travel with him a little bit if he allowed me, and if the trip allowed, like, if that was like space, not like if he allowed me, but you know what I mean? If you gonna allow me.
Exactly.
You gonna allow me. I'm your wife. Let's move on. Yeah. But even with that, like, if there was space and whatever the trip is, I'm not sure what he does, but we know does he open like big businesses for wine? He has big businesses.
I don't know if it's wine, but big businesses, world traveler.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what he's doing, like, I feel like in this situation, she needs to be with him, because, like, how is she dealing with this alone? She has her girlfriends, but your girlfriend is not your husband. Like, he's not, you know what I mean? Like, they're living together, dealing with this their kid that they want to have. Exactly. So I think that I wish he was around and we could meet him finally and see what his support. Yeah, we looking for you, because we looking for you, man. Like, we need you. We need you in this episode to see what's going on. But I think if we jump back to Tiffany, we had her emotional situation and a lot of, you know, situations going on with her in terms of her health. But this episode, we also got to meet her boyfriend. What'd you think? Her boyfriend. Okay.
We're not. Let's not hashtag team. Yeah, Ryan. I don't know. I don't know if I can hashtag that just yet.
I'm not sure if I'm ready. Let's not do
that. We just have some predictions.
That's the best way to say it. Anyway.
All right. So let's move on to
what'd you think about Brian?
I thought Brian supportive. I think all of their boyfriends are supportive, and I think that's what they need. Especially they're all 40-year-old women, very established, and to have someone to support you, I think that's all they need. They can take care of themselves. Right. So Brian supportive. He was in there in the room with her when she was getting her breast pumped. I thought that just showed. I
was a little freaked. Love. Like, I told her, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, leave the room. But because to me, it's like, I get it. Like, you're supporting me, but you're in the room. Like,
But that's her boyfriend.
I mean, I get it. It's
and then
like,
hopefully soon to be husband. So like, till death do us part. You need to be able to deal with it all.
That's
the
true.
bad, the
this
good, and the ugly.
That was ugly. That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. I was like, wow, I don't know if I'd want you in there with me. But look, I like that he is as supportive as he is. I think the fact that he knows all the information, because he was like, am I the only one you've told? Like, he feels very trusted right now. And he feels very like, what's the word, like responsible for just making sure that she's happy and making sure that he is a supportive, and he's doing a good job. Like, I think overall,
which means he's a good boyfriend.
Yes, I think we can definitely, hats off, Tiff, good job. So we can definitely say like he's a good guy, but
I think I don't want it to move too fast. That's my thing. This is the first time she said she's had a serious relationship, and like
besides her husband,
her
ex-husband,
ex-husband, but it was very quick and it was that Vegas move, so we didn't really know much about him. But with Brian, I don't want it to move too fast just because of her circumstances. I think that's what is pulling them together. But I'd like to see more of like the chemistry between them, and I don't know if I see that chemistry just yet.
I think the chemistry is a little like, there was parts where like, are they business partners? Are they friends? Like, are they brother and sister? Like, there was parts that like the side hug. I don't like side hugs. Like,
I think that's just
unless they're with my friend.
Okay, but I think that's just for the sake of the public. We don't want to see PDA, and then at that, I mean, not even about age, but like, no one wants to see PDA.
I don't mind a little peck or two. I just don't.
They did the little peck from the side though.
I just didn't believe it. Like, I see that they love each other, but it's chemistry. Like, you want to see, like, we don't want to see them smothering each other, but it is gracious to see that you're in this like beautiful, loving relationship. Even if I saw like a look across the room, like just something to be like, oh wow, I'm convinced that they're like.
But the thing that I love about it is, it doesn't matter what we think. It's all about their relationship. If it works for them, and whatever happens with them is all that matters. That's what's keeping them together. Our opinions don't matter. Yeah,
well, it doesn't, but still.
But we still like, be a little bit more lovey. Like, stop with the side hug.
I think the side hug last week like annoyed me, and then the side hug this week, I don't know. But yes, full on hug, side hug. Do you? I ain't mad. I ain't mad. I mean, okay, that's what you want to do. Cool, whatever. But
okay, let's get on to Chenoa.
No, I'm not ready. We need to talk about Tiffany and Kiyah and the hair thing.
Okay, her and this hair. She's been anticipating.
I've been ready. Like, I don't know, because I'm like, ooh, like, what do you think? Like, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, bottom line is, we saw Kiyah is a celebrity hairstylist. We know that she does all her friends' hair. This is a moment probably about entitlement, because Kiyah felt entitled to do all her girlfriends' hair. Yes. She was like, yeah, I'm doing it. Why wouldn't I?
But it's also being a good friend. Like, I look out for you. You're my girl. I got you.
Exactly. But I have my own hairstylist. I know I like my hair how it is. Like, I don't know. I think that was a tough situation for me, because I was thinking, like, if I had a best friend who was a hairstylist and she like never offered me to do my hair, I'd be sad. But then if she did and I wasn't feeling it, like, you have to think about it both ways. Like, Kiyah is probably like, why don't you want me to do your hair? You don't think I'm good enough?
And see, that's what she's probably thinking. Right. But it's just like, hey, we're girls, but I got my,
yes,
got my
I have a friend already.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know, like, that goes back to that whole Kiyah having that entitlement thing. Like, she's doing great, and her hair, bomb hair. She just does an amazing job.
She does.
But I would want my own hairstylist too. I mean, every now and then, if she wants to like switch up my hair, if I ask her, hey, I want to switch my look up, what can we do? Instead of being like, girl, you need to switch your look up and I got it for you. Mm-hmm. That's a little pushy. So I think that's where Tiffany's coming from, where she's like, I'm not ready to switch my look. I kind of like it how it is.
It's just because Kiyah hasn't lived. I mean, she hasn't lived in New York the whole time, so obviously they had to do their hair like without her. Mm-hmm. Now that she's here, like, they're not expected to necessarily change their entire like regimen just because you're here. But for me, like, I don't know, it was weird, because I can totally see how that, just like when Chenoa was like, if you needed pictures or portraits and you didn't ask me, like, I'd feel kind of weird. Yeah. But I think that's a very real situation. Like, if my friend is talented in this area, if she's a floral designer and I don't ask her to do it's like,
and you go to someone else, it's like, do you not?
It's
think
like
I'm
you don't
good
believe,
enough?
and that is hard, because again, mixing business and pleasure, like, you never know where to draw the line. Like, if your friends are both talented and they can offer different gifts to each other, sure, but if you decide, like, what if you hate the design? What if you hate your hair?
And then how do you tell your friend?
Then how do you deal with that? So I think
that's
Tiffany,
a question to ask. How do you tell your friend, like, I'm not really
that thing
feeling
you did for me, I don't actually like it. Yeah, that's probably, I don't know if that's what Tiffany was doing to avoid it, but
No.
I could see if that was what she was doing. I'm sure it was something else.
I really just think she wants her own hairstylist.
And she just wanted to keep it separate. She's just
I
like,
think
whatever.
That's the only thing that it is, and I don't think Kiyah can handle that. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe Kiyah do it on special occasions. Like, she don't want to switch up her hair now.
Oh well, I mean, again, it's not a huge deal, but I think Kiyah was kind of like, I don't know why she won't let me do her hair and blah blah blah, and like,
and now the thing is, Kiyah has like tiger eyes. Like, she is making it her mission to switch this girl's hair up.
She's like, I'm doing your hair next week.
I already know it's gonna be short. It's gonna be this. Like, she's like has a vision. Exactly.
Like right behind there, it's like, okay then.
Yeah.
So
that's another little friend dynamic. But Chenoa,
let's go. Let's talk about her.
Miss Chenoa. She's dealing with, I think, something that I can relate to a little bit more. That I'm not married or divorced, so not relate, but a relationship. I think I can relate to her dealing with this separation with her husband. Like, Carlisle, why?
I know, Team Carlisle. Like, dang, we were like so pumped,
and we still should be.
Yeah,
but
we are.
We didn't really see Carlisle, so like #last episode Team Carlisle.
Yeah,
so,
like look it up
exactly
because it was real. It was real.
I loved it, but now Chenoa, I think it's like hard on her right now, being in her own apartment, as you said, and not being with her husband, who she's been with for 13 years. Like, how do you go from being with this person, waking up to them, and then now you're from a house with a husband to an apartment with no husband? Like, she's going through right now and taking it to the club.
I think, don't even talk about that yet. I'm not even ready because I think, okay, deep breath. Let me go. I think that Chenoa is going through a lot. And I really felt for her this episode because the Harlem situation, the separate apartments thing, that's like a huge sign to me. Putting down money to be separated is a lot. Like, I guess I didn't expect them to live in the same house and be separated, but wow, like they both have separate apartments. Like, what's the deal? Like, that's putting a lot of effort into something.
Separation, that's what it is.
Yeah. And I guess it hit me this episode because when she said it last episode, I'm like, okay, they're going to get separated, but they'll be back together next episode. It'll be fine.
We had some hope, but now they're living separate lives.
Exactly. And that's tough.
It'll be interesting to see, like, how are you guys going to be working on this marriage if you're in separate homes? And it seems like, from the next episode that's coming up, it seems like maybe they're seeing other people or whatever the case is. They're living their life. They're living the single life. So how are you going to work on your marriage if you're living your life like this?
And you know what? This episode really answered a few questions for me because last week I was like saying like, okay, Chenoa, like I don't get why you don't just adopt or get a surrogate or get this or get that. And she addressed that today because she said like, I did get a surrogate and they had a miscarriage. So once that happens, like, I'm not sure how many times somebody puts in money and time into that.
Options.
Like she's done so many different things to make this work. And after 3.5 years, and it was so hard because she said, if I love him so much, like I need to let him go. And she was like, how am I going to see, another woman like make his dreams come true? And that,
no, I could have cried on that part. I could have literally shed more than one tear. That was hurt. A lot to be able to, for her to even voice that, like, hurt for me to, like, you've gone through all of this for your husband. Your health has been at risk. Like, your confidence is super low, and now you're thinking about another woman making a dream come true. That is just, I don't even know if I could have even voiced that. Like, that means she is almost giving up on this. And I don't know, how do you think she can recover the marriage? Like, what do you think some options are?
Well, I think we need #Carlisle to come in the picture. We have not heard any of his perspective. That's what I'm confused about. Like, we know how she feels. We know how she feels the last 3.5 years have played out. Now I need to know what he thinks. Does he think like, is he like, look, it doesn't matter, I love you, or is he like exactly what she's saying he is?
Because she's saying, getting an image of him pushing her away.
Exactly. He might not be like that. He might be like, what, I never said we should get separated or this. I don't really know. I'm assuming he did ask her for the separation, but how does he plan on fixing it? Because I know for her, in what she's showing us, she wants to fix it. She wants to make this work. I want to know what he thinks, and I want to know how much he's willing to work on it. And if he's not, let us know. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like we know enough.
She's going through an emotional roller coaster.
Exactly.
And like I was saying about that confidence, her confidence is so low. Kiyah was doing her hair, and she's just like, I just want to reinvent my look. What did she say? She said something about, I'm like, not sexy. Maybe I'm not sexy. I'm like, so changing your hair is going to make you sexier? Yeah. Like, she's doing so much from her look to her body, things internally, just to please her husband. And it's just like, I want to know how their marriage was in the beginning, because this is not showing me any good signs of like a good, healthy marriage.
But 13 years, in my opinion, does. But I mean, that can end. That happens all the time, which is unfortunate. But I think just their persistence shows me that it had to have been good. And I think his support, or at least what we saw last episode, how he supported her at her event, shows me they were good. But now we're seeing like the crucial points. And when we say till death do us part, this is those parts that are like creeping up close to death. Like where it's like, okay, so where we going to be, and now we know.
And he can't handle the death. He's ready to cut it. He's about to kill her.
And that's what I'm saying.
I'm serious.
That's the hard part. Like I think we're not seeing everything, and I think I appreciate that Chenoa is sharing more and more, because the more she shares, the more we understand what she's going through and why she says what she says. Because last week I was like not convinced. I was like, okay, I don't get why you feel this way or what's going on. And this week she opened up even more. Now I feel like if we see what her husband's perspective is, I can really put the pieces together and be like, okay, I see where they're going. And I feel like they're honest enough to show us what they think. So
I don't know if we're gonna get to see much of the husbands, because the show is mainly about their friendship. So I would really like even.
But we need to see him.
We need to, but we didn't get to see anything about Razi, Kiyah's boyfriend, except he has an awesome accent. Like we didn't see anything.
And that really full beard.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, how long did that take, man? Like that looks like it took forever.
Yes. But we're not seeing much from the guy's perspective to see like why they're saying this. This is a lot of girl talk, which is a great perspective to see. But like to balance it out for us, I really need to,
because they all have dudes. Like they all have dudes, and if we can have at least one give us something, a little something.
We got a little sneak peek of Brian, but I mean, I want to see Carlisle.
Yeah, we're not playing about the hashtag, so it's not even a joke. So once we go on to go ahead,
can we please go on to the Chenoa? Chenoa and her girls go out on the town, and that's what I'm going to call it because it was a club. But they go out on the town, and she's just talking about how, like, ladies, like, it's so weird being hit on when I had a husband, and now it's just like, oh my God, are they talking to me? I don't think she's bouncing back the correct way. Like, I don't think they need to be in the club at all. Like, that's just not a relationship.
I love your pause. At all.
Like, they don't need to be in the club to recover from the whatever they're going through. I just think, like, how about we have a spa day, or like, let's do something relaxing. Like, this is just like not productive. What if something happens? Like, just all bad things are.
I think this is the black version of Sex and the City. They was at the club. We did talk about that. We were
did,
saying,
but Carrie and her friend. Let's not get off to that. But the Sex and the City, the original TV show, they were at clubs and bars. It's just.
The circumstance was different. Like, I mean, I don't remember even what happened to that show, but point is, like, they're dealing with certain things that you're kind of, okay, so Rashawn's married. Not that she shouldn't be at the club, her friends, like, okay, I understand, but there's a perspective. Then Chenoa's in the middle of a separation, okay? Tiffany has a boyfriend. Kiyah has a boyfriend. Like, their circumstances are so different that you're like, actually, you guys don't even seem like you need it. Really. You know what I mean?
Like, there's a better place to be.
If you're just going to hang out, cool, but
they were talking about dropping it like it's hot. Yes, Kiyah said that's her personality. Like, she's very much, I'm independent. Yeah, I got my boo, but I'm gonna still drop it.
Right.
But Chenoa doesn't need to be in that situation when she's dealing with someone she loves. Yes. And like, you're talking about, like, ladies, they hit on me. Like, how are you feeling? I hope she was just drunk. Like,
I mean, which wouldn't be that much better. But I mean, I think her friends. Their reaction was interesting too, because Brashawn was like, what, you don't like it or something? And I was like, Brashawn, you're supposed to be like, no.
Let's
like,
focus on your husband.
Yeah, because she's married. Like, I feel like she should have, and she did mention that. She was like, I'm married. I don't need to be out that late. But everybody's like, your husband's gone. Like, come out.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, but do you think that they're, like, supporting the separation? What do you think? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they support the separation, but I feel like they're trying to be on her side. And her side almost says, I have to get separated if I want him to get what he wants, if I love him that much. And I think that's what they're supporting, not necessarily like the fact that they're, but and all her girls are so independent that maybe it doesn't freak them out as much. I mean, maybe it does. I can't tell.
Chenoa, from what she said in the first episode, like, Carlisle is her support. He's pretty much her everything, and to have to separate. I mean, her and Carlisle is a lot on her, and I know that they're picking up on it, but maybe they're trying not to get too deep into it because they know she will get super emotional, and they're not trying to add to that. So I can see from that perspective why they're not super like, oh, go back to your husband and do this, that, and the other, because, like, who wants to chase a man? No one should chase their man.
Yeah, exactly. And Chenoa, she said something so epic. She said, him and I are each other's dream person, but we're not each other's reality anymore. And I thought that was so piercing, because I was like, wow, like, after all this time of you guys dreaming technically together and growing together and living together and working on this beautiful marriage, you're not each other's reality person. Like, you don't actually think you can feed each other or grow with each other in this day and age. And that's
when you need to reevaluate a relationship, when you feel like you're not growing with someone.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think reevaluation needs to be divorce. Like, I'm hoping that it's not.
Me neither. I mean, again, this is not traditional. No, not traditional friendship. This is a traditional marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I don't think she wants to get separated. Again, we need to hear Carlisle's perspective to even understand, like, why all this is happening. So, Carlisle, next couple shows, I better see
basically
you on
we need to see you. You guys got to tell us what you think. We're about to end and wrap up the show, but we have to hear your comments and read your comments. So make sure that you check us out on YouTube. Listen, watch, subscribe, check us out, and make sure you tweet us at you can find me at One Take Stace on Instagram and Twitter. And where can they find you, Courtney?
And you can find me at Tezeno's on Twitter and Instagram. Please send your tweets and your pictures, because we do follow and we do watch. And we love your comments.
We love to read. So make sure you guys check us out on AfterBuzz. And we will see you here next Sunday at 7.
All right. Have a good Easter, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Oh, gosh.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.